All right, task number one accomplished for the day. I write my tasks often in the morning on a piece of paper, like what are the next things I can work on. As a solo application developer, pretty easy to, just kind of keep chewing away at whatever is most important, slowly grinding away until we get to what we'll call proof of concept or minimal viable product. So I'm working on a product called ChartDensity. The idea is to keep the application as simple as possible and to not stray away from a small number of basic charts. And we're even not necessarily going to emphasize the chart over, say, grids, or interactive reports, or interactive grid type of data, because you can actually display data a lot more efficiently, densely, in a grid, I believe. But people seem to love charts, so we've got to have charts. And I like charts. I like to be able to flip through them. So the goal was to get these charts, which were displaying just a bunch of divs, which were displaying in a single column, to, float here, and it'll change to 2 and then 1 and go back to that. And not going to do anything else right now. It's working. And so got this working, and then I start to kind of say, okay, let's go back and look. So here we start here with data sets. In data sets, we're using a cards region. Okay, that's cool. And then when we click our Oracle metrics for our test data set, the menu kind of changes context up top, and we get these charts. And I really don't like the look. So one thing we could do is we could just style this so that it looks a lot more, say dark mode-ish, like this. But then I got to thinking, because we're always trying to drive towards simplicity. What if instead of card regions up here, we had charts? So we had the exact same thing. It solves the problem. Any styling I apply to one is going to be easy to apply to the other screen because it's the same type of object. So why don't we just treat a chart like a card? We need to display information on it. And I want to have some data visualization anyway on these card regions, so it makes sense. And I think that's going to drive towards simplicity, and I think it's important enough to stop and do right now, just to test this idea. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to create a data set. Always begins with a single chart that you will not be able to remove. And maybe over time you'll be able to change which what data is displayed on that particular chart, because there's a lot of, ultimately that data is going to represent the data set underneath it. So there's a lot of different things we could do. And as I extended this idea, what if notifications again begin with a charts which track the number of notifications or something. Contacts could potentially do something like that. I'm not sure. That might not fit. And if that doesn't fit, we might want to move this to another menu. This is where I wanted kind of a side menu and this menu. And I would like this menu to be within the context of this area right here. One of the examples somebody threw up, they were able to do that, but this menu slips over to here. And now you start having to do, putting in some kind of margin or forcing it over. Could be done, but it would be nice if you could just drop this type of menu in a region anywhere you want it on a page. So I might want that more of those down here, and being able to drop a tab menu object into a region that spans certain columns, and then tie that to a dynamic list would be pretty cool. I think that could have some use. See what else is on the agenda today. The settings, if we get this far, we need to, so when we go into a data set right now, and you go to settings, all we have is the name and description. We need to tie this to what the stat bucket, which is part of K2, which has a lot of the attributes associated with the data set. So this would be we're going to get a lot more data here. So I think starting to do that is important, because you're really not going to want to create a data set without setting those settings first. Some of the settings are kind of hard to change once you have the data going. For example, we're calculating things like rate per minute on the fly, and then archiving that, and then figuring out what your average values are and things. And so if you change that to rate per second, it's really not designed to do that. It could be, but then you have to, that's a different design. So, and then link to stats. So the next thing we need to get working is when we click one of the charts, when we click, hey, I'm on the free tier of Oracle, and I'm way far away from my router. This probably performs better. I know this performs better at times. And we're not going to pre-optimize, right? But when I click one of these charts, or I want to have a link or something like that that I can click, which will take me to a specific chart and all the data about that particular metric. So those are the kind of things that I need to keep working on, and that's what we're doing right now. So I guess the point of this is just to show people who are developing their own applications, and one, how to do what I can do with K2, or what I think I can do with K2, what I'll be able to do in the future with K2. By the way, I think I might have found this before, but here's a good example: Pegasus. There's just all these objects. This company is helping people kind of get their initial kind of MVP up and running very quickly by providing all the things you need. And so, there's a lot of things you need, payments and all that kind of junk. And so K2, part of the thing I'm trying to solve is just have all that stuff ready to go. And I will do another video and show how I'm doing these dynamic menus also maybe later. So anyway, rambling. That's it. Later.